Alright everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to look at how to actually create this particular lollipop chart that is not actually existing inside Microsoft Excel, but we have to configure it. So this one is the simplest part of it, and this one here is the advanced part that can actually help you to handle huge number. If you're looking for something that handles small number, this one will be an ideal, but we have to learn from here before we graduate into this one for we to create something much more advanced. So let us go over to a new sheet, and over here I'm going to impute values, and here will be the bars, right? So I want a number from 1 to 10. So all I need to do now is to drag this one until I can have 10. Then let us fill series. So we're going to take off this particular part. So our bars would come in here. So before then, let us come over here and make sure we impute some icons. Should we call it icons? Yes. So we don't have to go to the internet. Just hold your Windows key, then the full stop. This will actually pop up. Make sure you click on this particular part where it says symbol and come to this particular one here where it says less than, and just pick up this very one, not this one, but this one. So once you have done this, come down to this particular part where you have the arrow pointing to the left and right. So go ahead and click on it and scroll down a little bit until you find a circle like this one. All right, so step out from here and make sure you separate this particular two with your Ctrl X to cut it, and above it we paste this one. Okay, once we have gotten this done, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we create those particular lollipop. So with our equal sign here, I'm going to use a function called repeat. So with my repeat function, I want to repeat this, and before we do anything, we have to lock it down. With our F4 key, you can make sure you lock this down. Then we'll put a comma right here. It's asking us for the numbers of time to have this one here repeated. So we're going to reference this, and that is it. So once we have done this now, the next thing we have to do is to close it with our ampersand right here. We just have to make sure we just say, okay, just give us this once. After you might have repeated this particular one beneath it. Then we do our F4 key, then hit our enter key. So let's go ahead and copy this down. This is what you have, right? But this doesn't come with any color. So what do we do to actually make sure we give color to this? Okay, to give it color, all you have to do is to actually highlight this environment here. So once you have done this, the next thing you're going to do right now is to make sure you go to this particular part and click on home. From here, click on conditional formatting. I love to use manage rules so that I can actually create it as many times as I want. So once we are here, we can click on new rule and step into this particular use a formula to determine which cell to format. Then come over here and point to this very first one. So once you have done that, we have to remove this particular $ here to free the column. The next thing we have to do right now is to say if it is greater than 5, right? Then we want to see red, less than 5. Use less than 5, not greater than 5. So we go to format and we choose the font, and we come over here and we want to see red. So we click on OK. Can you see what we have done right now? It's something very simple. So the next thing now is for we to go over to click on OK, go over to new again. And this time around, click on this, and this one here, we click on this one. So we have used if it's less than, so make sure you remove this $ from here. This time around, we're going to say if it is greater than 5. So we want to set it to a green color. So any color of your choice can be used. So we can choose to go with this particular green, then click on OK, click on OK from here, and click on OK. Then you have something like this. Do you see it right now? So this actually works. So let us take everything off from here. And now we have this. If I start imputing numbers into it right now, so we're going to have something like this. So do you see this right now? This is what you actually have. So I just want you to practice this for you to understand this particular simple part of it before we jump into the next one. So I believe you will do that. I have actually pre-formatted this particular part with percentage number formatting. And here we have support, we have values, and we have bars. So what are we going to do with it? So let us use huge number to get it done. So for that, I'm going to come over here and say product 01. So I'm going to drag this down to this part here, and I'm going to create random value for my product. So that is going to be over here. We have to use round between number, round between. So let us say round between 30 to 500. So we close, hold your control key to hit the enter key. Okay, now we have this. This is the value we want to actually use over here. I can come over here now and reference this. I'm showing you in a perspective of you using this on a dashboard. Then you can know how to actually get this done, right? So what I'm going to do right now is to actually come over here and add one new column to this. If need be, okay, let's Ctrl Z. So we need to add our column between here. So here we have this column here. So this column here will represent our product, which is this particular one here. Here is our product. So we can type in products right here. So this is the value of our product. These values now should actually come into here. I can decide to reference this value and just drag this down. So for the time being, I don't need to keep this one again. I can just go ahead and Control and right click and paste as value. We want to make it static. So we have built this. So the next thing now, we don't want to use traditional, way of creating our chart. So we want to use that particular kind of chart I've shown you, right? So what we can do right now is to make sure we create something just like the previous one. Then you see the side effect when you have huge numbers. So I'm going to actually say over here, repeat. So with the repeat is to repeat this, and F4 key to lock it down, comma, and numbers of times we want to repeat this right here. So close and ampersand. Then we actually concatenate this to it with our F4 key. When I hit my enter key and have this copied down, you can see how large this is. So even when we try to actually put some numbers to be some kind of very low and use 300 here, so we try to use 20 here, we still have this messed up. So what can we do? We can actually highlight here and do the needful to control how long the bars will be. Okay, so what we can do right now is to actually say repeat here. So with our repeat function, we're going to repeat this, but not just repeating this that matters. So how do we want to repeat this and control the length? So F4 key to lock it down. So put a comma right here. So this time around, we're going to use round. So the round function is going to help us to round this and have it divided by the max, right? So what max are we looking forward to? This max here. So F4 key to lock the max down, then we have to close. But before we do that, we need to actually open another bracket here. It's very important. Please take note of this, otherwise it will not work. After round, we have to open two brackets. Then we reference this. Now don't lock it down. Now the max should be locked down, and we go ahead and close twice. So once we have done this, the next thing is for we to multiply it by 20, right? So once you have done that, now this will determine how long it is going to be, so and set limit to it. So now I'm going to put a comma here and just to the nearest 0, right? So we have this closed and close our repeat right here. This time around, we have to concatenate this to it, and our F4 key will do the magic for us. So if I hit my enter key right now, the limitation is this. So if I just go ahead and drag down, here we have it. It's actually going to be within this limit. It wouldn't go beyond and start spilling to this particular end. So we did set that just because we have this particular part. This is what does the magic for us. Very simple, right? So I'm going to actually explain this again. But before we actually do another explanation, let us go over here and create a supporting column and show you what the supporting column will do. So over here now, I'm going to actually use this and say this divide by the sum of the whole value here. So we can select this one. Your arrow to the left will help you to do that. So Control Shift down arrow to select the whole range. And now F4 key, close and hit your Enter key and copy down. In case your own is not on percentage, just Control 1 and click on percentage here, and that will give you this. All right, what does this particular supporting column does for us? It will help us to format this into red and green, depends on what we want, right? Okay, let's do the formatting. So we have to come over here right now, go to Home, and now we click on Manage Rules, then we click on New Rule, and we use formula to determine what we want. So when you step in here, reference this particular part and actually ask. So before you do that, make sure you free the row to copy down. Then we want to say if it is less than 0.05, which is if it is less than 5%, then we want this particular bar to give us red. Then we come over here, we go over to font, we can make it bold, and we come over to color, we choose to see red and click on OK. Okay, click on OK. So what happens if I apply? Now we can see red on where we have the bars to be less than 5. So those ones that are greater than 5, we have them in this color, black. Then we can add a new one and come over here and reference this particular part again. And now we have to make sure we free the row to copy down by removing that one. So now say if it is greater than 0.05, what we want to see now is a green color. So we make it bold and we click on this and we choose the kind of green we want to actually use. Then we can go ahead and click on OK, here. And finally, we have something like this. So whenever a value is lower than what will give us 5%, so let's say we have 400 here. So it's still working. Let's have like 20 here. Now it's on red. So if we have 10 here, it's on red. Can you see it right now? So before we come back here and explain things to you, so let us come over here now. And first of all, we have to some kind of, go to view and disallow the grid lines from here. So over here now, I can set a color for the header. So let's go with something like this, and I can choose to have white. All right. So this is not really relevant, so I can just remove this. So we can go with this and Ctrl-C to copy. Let's say this is our dashboard here. You can right click and go to paste special and paste as a link picture. So here we go. We have this here. So if I want to go back now, I can double click on this. It takes me here. So look at what happened. This one here has a long one. I can just make it 2 and it's going to be shorter. So let's quickly go back to this one here. Can you see it reflects? Sorry. So it happens here as well. So whatever we do to that particular part will be affecting this very one here. So it is time for me to give you a recap on what I have done here and how we got to this particular part right here. So let's do it. Okay, let us look at what happens in our formula, right? So in our formula, we have this repeat here that repeats this particular one some number of time. This particular one here was repeated some number of time. And number of time we have this repeated determines what we have sitting right here, right? So which means repeat the character found in the cell, D5, which is this particular one right here for us, right? So when you have done that, you're going to repeat the character some number of time. And over here, we have a round function that helps us to retrieve the max from this whole range right here. So, and inside it, we actually say calculate how the value in D8, right? The value in D8, which is this particular value right here, compared to the max, which is the whole max we have actually found on this particular range right here, right? So once you have done that, so we're going to find the ratio, right? And we scale it by 20. That will set the length of the repeated character, which is this particular, character we have right here for us. You get it right now? So the result is going to be rounded by the nearest whole number to determine how many times the character will be repeated over and over again. So can you see that right now? So, and finally, we added, this particular part, which is this one here. But unfortunately, we did not want this one to be repeated multiple times, but just once, and it will be repeated at the end of the repetition of this one in the number of time we set it to write in. It's something very simple, right? So it's not actually complicated. All you have to do is to make sure you create it all by yourself and take a look at what we have done right here to have this particular formula and make it to get us what we have right here. So you might not ever need this ever in your career, but learning this would actually help you to understand other functions and formula inside Microsoft Excel. I believe this will definitely help someone, and if it does, please do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share to your friends and family. Don't forget to go to my main channel to watch over 200 videos on both Microsoft Excel and Power BI. See you in my next videos.